Hello.
Hey, is this Barry?
It is.
Hey, Barry, how are you today?
I'm well. How
Let
are
me,
you, Gil?
I'm doing real well. Let me check here with our live and see if everybody can hear okay. Drake, is that coming through okay?
Oh yeah.
Oh, awesome. Hey, look, what did we lose, Johnny?
Yeah.
So, Barry, got to tell you, I am fairly new to WoodTok also. I've been doing lives now for just a couple of months. I've built a little bit of a following, but the WoodTok community as a whole is a really big community online. So you'll come across a lot of WoodTok members, people who love this community, who are very into the woodworking, have the same passion together. We like to talk about new tools. We like to talk about new products. We like to talk about life and good alcohol. So there's a little bit of everything in our big conversations, and you'll see a lot of these creators and makers that do lives on their own when they're doing work around their shop. You'll see a lot of lives like what you're looking at now, where a couple of us will get together and just kind of have roundtables where we're doing our work and talking about life and love and happiness and, like I said, drinking and smoking and all that good stuff. Just real
Uh,
informal.
I was hoping you would throw smoking in
But we can do that. We can do that. I'm a smoker that can't seem to quit,
there.
and a Scotch drinker myself, but
Right.
enjoy a couple of cigars every now and then, here and there. And Drake, she's just smoking anyway. So
Yep, we
uh,
got him on the phone.
awesome. Yeah. Hey, Chicano, we have him on the phone on a speakerphone here on my live, so we can do a little work that way. Obviously, it won't be quite as efficient, but we can talk and get some questions out. And Drake and I will keep an eye on the comments. We don't have a lot of people on the live right at the moment, but we've all kind of shared out to our friends and let them know we're live and what we're doing live, Barry. So hopefully we'll get some more joiners. But can you tell us a little about your product and maybe the background?
Sure. So my background is woodworking. I like to do one-off products, but I like to do like one-off functional. I call it functional furniture. So I didn't like to do casework. And then I was before the CNC craze, so I'm not really caught up on. I love CNCs. I have a little mini one on my desk, but I really am not caught up on full use of the CNC. Um, uh, I launched a product in 2001, which was an import. I liked it, worked really well. And then they said, thank you very much 10 years later, and we parted ways. And so I went looking for my own formulation, one that would be made in the States, and one that would be as good, if not better. And so I found a formulation, took me about 6 years to perfect it. And I came out with a few products. I have the standard water-based wood filler, which is a heavy body wood filler, which we call. You'd use it. It's a 3-in-1 product. You can use it for knot holes, for grain filling, for edge banding, for edge filling, MDF filling. It's a zero-waste product. If it hardens in the pot, you just add water to it and it reconstitutes. It's also freeze-thaw stable, it's environmentally friendly, non-toxic, all that good stuff. Then I was heavily involved in the wood flooring business, so I wanted a product that was easy to spread. So we have a trial-ready product that right out of the bucket is like a yogurt-like consistency. Our product is very dense, about 70% calcium carbonate, and the rest are binders. So the calcium carbonate is just basically crushed limestone. It's a renewable resource, but it's because of basically crushed rock. So it's very thick and it doesn't shrink when it's put into the void. The other reason it doesn't shrink is we don't have acrylic or latex. When other wood fillers say that they are water-based, they're actually an emulsion, which is an acrylic emulsion or a latex emulsion. And anytime you use those emulsions in bulk, whether it be in paint or especially wood filler, they shrink or they crack. They also blind the grain, so they don't like to accept stain across the top of it. We will accept stain fully, just like the wood does.
Okay, so it's a an emulsion that's still got that consistency of wood. It's going to absorb a stain and try and match better with the wood as that stain gets absorbed into it. That's great.
Yeah, it's very porous. Um, so the trowel ready, then I took the water out of it and I made a powder that is very versatile. You can mix it with you can mix it with lacquer, you can mix it with paint. So we have guys who are repairing exterior decks. They buy it in 12-pound bags and they mix it with an exterior acrylic paint to repair their deck. And then I have 2 gel products. Stop me at any time.
No. This is what we're interested in hearing about is what you got out there and how we can use it. And we get a lot of people on here who are just crafters, and we get a lot of people who are trying to build small businesses too. So yeah. The more you can tell us about the products, the better. Certainly interested in hearing about it.
So the gel products I have are really cool. They're out of the box products. So I formulated one that has like a high molecular weight copolymer in it. It's basically a fancy word of saying like a micro wax. And what happens is the gel is blended into this gel with deposits this copolymer on the surface of the wood. And then when you put the finish over it, the finish cross-links with that copolymer. What it does a few things. First, it fills in the pores in the wood. And the other thing is it gives your finish more durability. So that scuffability, scratchability, all that stuff. And then what's extra cool about it is that you can do it in layers. So you can build a chemical sandwich. So you would put your finish on, put your grain filler on, put your finish on, put your grain filler on, put your finish on, until you're satisfied that the pores are filled. It's also stainable. Clear grain filler has been specified into Bombardier Aerospace for their executive jets. They use about 1,800 square feet of exotic veneers on each of their jets. So they found that this product stops the leaching of any of the exotic tannins and stuff into the finish. Then I have a stain and paint gel, which works similarly to the clear grain filler, except it doesn't fill the grain. So you could add pigment to it, and you can change the color of your work. So if you've got kitchen cabinets, you want to change the color of them, you don't need to sand them down, you just need to clean them. Create your own color of gel, stain, or paint, depending on the pigment load. Put it over your cabinets, spray them, and you're done.
So kind of a make your own paint situation.
Exactly.
Well, that's great.
So that's it. So go ahead, shoot, ask questions. I can't wait to go live with you because I think can do the dog and pony show well.
Yeah, we're looking forward to you. So TikTok's threshold, I think, is 1,000 followers you have to have before you can go live. Is that right?
Yeah.
Everybody in the live kind of shaking their head at me. So yeah, just keep building up your following, because certainly when you reach that point, then we'll bring you in for more of these and be able to have you do demos and show us some things too. If you're still on the TikTok live, I think you can put a link in the comments, things like that. I did see your video where you did an inlay.
Oh yeah. Right.
So that looked great. I just did an inlay last night with epoxy that I haven't cleaned up yet, but so you can do something similar to this with your product also, right? Comfortably?
Yeah. So
okay.
We have a neutral based product. That's exactly, yeah. Okay. So what you can do with our product is our powdered product, our neutral, is mix it with a red acrylic paint. And so the color you see, it'll be the exact replica of the red acrylic paint or whatever color you want, blue, green,
Right.
And then you can apply that and put that into the void and, change colors, et cetera, what are you going to do? And we've done that several times with inlay, yeah. Change colors, et cetera, what are you going to do? And we've done that several times with inlay, yeah.
So what kind of a set time and cure time does it have if you're doing an inlay like that? Is there a recommended, too deep of a pour, too not too deep enough of a pour. One of the things I run into with the epoxy inlay I do is the different types of epoxy that I have to buy, right? If I'm going to do a river table that's going to be 4 inches deep, I have to buy a deep pour epoxy, and then I still struggle with pouring 4 inches deep because it heats up so much as it cures. I'll get cracks and things like that in the epoxy. Do you have recommended like depth for pours? Too much? Is there too deep of a pour I could do with this? Or
well, first of all, I just learned something from you. I didn't know that there was a different types of epoxy for the depth of pour. Our product is air cure product. It's not a chemical cure, so it relies on getting air to it so that it evaporates the water.
Okay.
And so anything over 1/4 of an inch, you need to build layers of.
Okay. So if we're going to do, say, well, here, let's take a really good example, real world, that I've done in the past, where I've made a tray like this. I've done my engraving in the bottom on my CNC machine, and now I want to fill somebody's initials into the bottom of a tray, right? And I've accidentally made my cut too deep, and it's a little deeper than 1/4 inch. So what you recommend in that case is maybe to fill halfway, let that cure and dry, and then fill the rest of the way.
So typically what I do is I fill it in a V shape, so I pack it in so that I leave a V channel around inside the center of the groove, and pack it in the sides, let that cure, and then the final fill.
Okay, yeah, that'll give it a little more surface area to bond to, and that makes sense. So how about? Go ahead.
Sorry. What about bubbling?
There is no bubbling.
You
don't need. I mean, you can use a heat gun to cure it, but it won't. It just decreases the amount of time it takes to dry. So, and it won't shrink. When I watch the river table guys and the epoxy guys, I see a lot of heat guns and propane tanks. It's not necessary for ours.
Okay, so the reason you see that with epoxy, that's exactly what Drake was just talking about. What you get with the epoxy is that chemical reaction. Not only the chemical reaction, but the mixing when you're stirring your epoxy and bringing the hardener with the resin together. It's really easy to introduce a lot of bubbles. And yeah, if you do it by hand, it takes a really long time. If you do it with like a drill paddle, you're mixing a ton of air into it. So what people use those heat guns for is the heat thins the epoxy. It makes it runnier, and then the bubbles will come to the top and pop. So your product though is more of a paste, right? Like a powder-based paste. Okay.
Right.
Awesome. And you say this is good for, so I've done some tables in the past that are white oak, and white oak is such an open grain. You want to do a nice filler on that grain so you get a good smooth tabletop for your finish, and your product can be used for that kind of a thing too, right?
Yeah. So we, absolutely. It's great for white oak. I mean, I'm very proud of our white oak wood filler color because it matches dead on. And because white oak is so porous, our product works amazingly with it. But a lot of guys, what they do is they contrast one of our most popular fillers is the black filler. So our trowel ready black filler is basically troweled over a tabletop or whatever it is, and then so you got your highlight of your grain. You sand it off and you highlighted your grain with the black filler.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Greg. Oh, so how about one of the things we brought up a little bit yesterday was a lot of us do things like cutting boards and kitchenware. I see a lot of people making like hand carved spoons, things like that might be out of white oak where they're going to fill the grain, things like that. Is the product, I know you said it's non-toxic, and there's often a little bit of a very minor difference between non-toxic and food safe, right? Is this a food safe product? Is it something I could use to say do an inlay on the corner of a cutting board?
100%.
Okay.
The one caveat is that most cutting boards are sealed with oils and waxes, so you have to do that.
Yeah. So most people.
Yeah, I think that's what his wife said yesterday, right? As long as we seal it, we should be able to use it.
Yeah, and the sealing's okay as long as it's a food safe seal, right? So if we're sealing
Right.
with mineral oil or we're sealing with boiled linseed oil that's a food safe sealant, then your product's going to be okay. Now, if they,
Right.
while they're using a cutting board, you're going to be cutting through that seal. The product itself is still food safe. So if it introduces those microfibers of it into their food, like happens when you're cutting on a cutting board, there's no issues with that. This is still a non-toxic food safe product, right?
Correct. The reason I'm saying to seal it is the selling feature is that it's a zero waste product. It can be reconstituted with water. So once you don't want to leave it there so that if they come to wash the cutting board, you'll wash the filler out. So once the mineral oil or the wax, whatever it is you put on it, that'll protect it from being washed out, but it is totally food safe.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So you want that oil, that sheened oil finish over the top of it, and it sounds like maybe a boiled linseed oil style oil would be better than a mineral oil, because a boiled linseed oil does cure to a solid finish, as opposed to mineral oil, which always stays a more oily surface. So probably with your product, that boiled linseed oil finish would be a better finish, because you're going to get a little bit of a shell seal over the top of it. So when they wash their board, they're not going to get water into that inlay. That's good to know.
So with the product, I think I seen somewhere online it says it doesn't shrink or crack or anything. How does it do with wood movement? Because obviously wood is gonna move regardless. Of what you seal it with. It's still gonna have some type of movement.
Yeah. So for instance, I have seen some of the wood filler products that are out there where I've done a trowel fill where I'm doing a scrape fill on a white oak tabletop. And over time, as that tabletop has expanded and contracted, even just, that little bit after a finish is on it, where I've seen some separation of that grain filler to the grain itself. How does your product handle that well? Will it expand and contract with the wood a little bit?
No. So, good question. So, it dries extremely hard. So our product we specify for hardwood floors. I don't know if you've ever seen a hardwood floor in the winter versus the summer.
Oh yeah.
The reason it works is that it's got extra high adhesion and it dries extremely hard. So that if the floor were to push together, the gap together, it doesn't squeeze the product out. It actually expands. If the floor is installed correctly, it should have an expansion gap around the perimeter of it.
Right.
So it will actually cause the floor to expand as one. It won't come out. It will crack to one side. So it doesn't, but it won't come out of the crack.
Okay.
On a table, you're not dealing with as strenuous movement.
For sure.
But if you're framing a table that has tongue and groove boards on it, I think the issue is bigger than the wood filler. If you put a frame that just is tight around it,
well, yeah,
without any expansion,
then it's your design. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Agreed. And I think that most of the WoodTok community is got enough experience to understand, the proper methods for attaching a table and not framing a solid panel table, things like that. I think we're more interested in that little bit of an expansion and contraction you get across the piece anyway. So if you filled that whole grain, but it sounds like that's certainly not a lot of wood movement, right? It's enough that if you don't attach it properly to the trestle or the base or whatever you've built for below the table, you're going to get a cupped tabletop, but it's not enough expansion that you're going to see a separation with this product. Is that kind of where we're going?
Right.
Okay, great.
We wanted to stay in with a hair. If it does expand, if it does contract, you want the filler to stay in and not to crack out. So you may have a hairline crack, but when the humidity increases, it'll come back together.
Okay, great. Anybody? Anybody? I got shaking heads here. Questions?
Well, I was just going to say, on a different note, we should be able to save the live and then repost it.
Yeah. I'll make the replay available. Yeah.
Then we can just ask people to follow and help get his follower count up.
Yeah, that'd be great. I think we can probably help with that. So we're getting a few more people on here now, Barry. But what we're gonna do, I think, since I'm the host, am I the only one who can do that? Cactus, do you know?
What's that? Yeah, you would be the only one.
The
You're
only
the
one.
only one.
Yeah,
It's
because
your
it's
line.
under yours.
I'll post the replay, and then you guys can all share that.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, later on tonight,
Okay.
when I'm sitting and doing my admin work later on tonight, I'll do a repost on our live so that other people will get an opportunity to hear what we talked about today and hear about your product a little bit. And so I'll say this now because we're going to repost this as a live. If you're watching this, give Goodfilla, GoodFilla, give them a follow. We'd like to get them up to enough followers where we can pull them in live and be able to do some live demo work with them. So if you're watching this now and you're seeing it on a replay, please go ahead and give them a follow. Let's help them get their following built up. They have a nice following on Instagram, is my understanding already. Let's bring them up on our platform. I think our platform's really kind of taken over in terms of where we all like to meet and get together. So that this will be a much better place for us to bring them in and demo their product better. And Barry,
So,
the whole community is always interested in new products that are coming to market, especially when they're coming from a small family manufacturer or a small company. You know, we're all small companies, so that's what interests us.
do they have like a filler for plywood? You know, because I'm working with plywood right now, and instead of having the lines, you know, would be nice to be able to just fill it in.
Yeah, it's perfect for that.
Okay. So you can do a good plywood fill with your product too. So
yeah,
you're
yeah.
you're
Try or trowel. Are you going to stain it? You're going to finish?
It would be painted. Yes, it would be painted.
yeah. He said it would be a painted. So you're talking about an edge. You're talking about an edge filler, right, John?
Yeah, like for the edge.
Yeah.
So our trowel ready neutral would be perfect.
So the trowel ready neutral is what you recommend for that. Okay, because you're going to paint it, so what color it is doesn't matter, Johnny, right?
Yeah.
Right.
That makes sense. And
So even
you said-
after I paint, it would still take the paint in, right?
100%.
Okay.
awesome.
You can mix with the paint to reduce your working time.
Oh, you can actually mix it with the paint and reduce your work time.
Well, I mean, could I use a sprayer to do that?
Time.
Probably.
Because that's the way I'm gonna paint is with a sprayer.
Yeah, he's painting with a spray, so that.
Perfect. Okay.
So yeah, you would need to do your fill, Johnny, and then
Yeah.
I do have a question on the mixing the paint with it. Since it is water-based and it does wash out, does the acrylic also make it wash out?
That's a great question. So with water-based paints, if you're brushing the paint on, it depends on how aggressive you are brushing it. So if you are an aggressive paint brusher oner, you run the risk of reconstituting the filler. That's a brilliant question. So we recommend maybe just touching up with just a quick brush stroke over it, let it seal it, and then go to town.
Okay, so kind of put a real light seal coat of a water-based paint on first, or an acrylic-based paint, because that's water-based, and then after that tacks over, then you can put your heavier coat on. That makes sense.
Absolutely.
But what about mixing it with the acrylic and then painting it on?
Oh yeah, how about when you mix that product with the paint?
You don't have a problem at all. If you mix our powder with the acrylic, then you don't have a problem at all.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense because it's going to already be emulsified into the acrylic paint, and it's just going to dry with the paint. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So tell us about your packaging. How are you selling this? Is this like a 1 pound jar or bags of a quarter pound? What's the ratios? How are you selling it?
So our heavy body is our 4 ounce container actually weighs 8 ounces because it's 2 times the specific gravity. So it's very dense, like I said.
Okay.
So we have what we call an 8 ounce container. It's in a 4 ounce container, but an 8 ounce a quart, which weighs close to 64 ounces, a gallon in the heavy body. Then the trial ready is quarts and gallons, and then the stain and the clear grain filler are in pints, quarts, and gallons. And then I have the powder in 6 ounce, 16 ounce, and 12 pounds.
Okay. And how's that? Is it your powder? Is it bagged or?
Yeah, it's bagged.
Okay, bagged.
Actually, this is cool. Our 16 ounce bag is a biodegradable bag.
Oh, I like that. That's awesome. Cactus, you got a look on your face. You got questions?
I was reading because Ashley came in here, after we started, so we haven't had a whole lot of re-explanation quickly as to what it is that we're really talking about here. If you're just joining and you're hearing somebody talk in the background, you're not really sure what it is that we're talking about right now.
Good point. Good point. I can recap a little bit. So what we pulled together here yesterday, Johnny had a live going, and there were a group of us who were on, and we had a new product owner developer who happened to come on live and is new to TikTok and was telling us a little bit about their product. This is a wood filler product, and there's multiple products. They have a gel based, a heavy based product, and they have a powder based product they're a water-based product for doing wood fills, for doing green filler, for doing inlay fill. You can use them for edging plywood, things like that. So we are actually talking with Barry, who is the owner and product developer of Goodfilla, and we're just kind of doing a short Q&A. And the reason you're hearing this is voice. Barry has not built his following quite yet. He's just gotten onto TikTok recently. Doesn't have a large enough following that we were able to bring him into the live, but we didn't want to miss the opportunity to talk about his product and bring it to our group. You know, we all have a handful of followers who we always see on our lives, and we wanted to be able to give Barry an opportunity to tell us about the product. And he's a small business and a small manufacturer who has, I spoke with his wife yesterday for a little while, and they've worked really hard to make sure that they're going to be able to meet demand as their product gets out there on the market. They know they've got their manufacturing process down and are going to be able to meet demand for sales. And it sounds like they did all their good due diligence to make sure they'd be able to do all that before they brought it to market. So we just got the opportunity to talk one-on-one with Barry today. Since we couldn't bring him live, we're doing this on a phone call. So that's why you're just hearing voice. If you are on here, look up, if you're just coming in, look for Goodfilla. That's GOODFILLA on TikTok, and give them a follow. The sooner we can get them up to 1,000 followers, the sooner we can bring them in for a live and have them do demos for us.
Thank you.
I do have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do they have a sample pack? Something, if you don't need 4 ounces, 8 ounces, do they have like a sample pack that we could buy?
Barry, do you have a collection of samples, a small, where you have a sampling pack that would have a little bit of a couple of different of your products that are available to buy?
Here's what I do. If you want to try my product, I send it out, basically. So, I'm very grateful for this opportunity. So if you want to direct message us, and we will send you out some stuff to play with.
Like a collection of samples, a small, where you have a sampling pack that would have a little bit of a couple of different of your products that are available to buy?
Here's what I do. If you want to try my product, I send it out, basically. So, I'm very grateful for this opportunity. So if you want to direct message us, and we will send you out some stuff to play with.
Right.
Awesome. So in exchange for that, Barry, what we'll tell you is, I know for myself, and Johnny and I have talked about it, I'm sure everybody on here would be happy to, if anybody who reaches out to you gets a sample, we'll do a video with what we get, just to kind of show what we've gotten and how we've used it and what we think of it. And, just being completely transparent, we'll be completely honest what we think. And it sounds like you really believe in your product, so that won't be a problem, right?
We got a question in the comments.
What's that?
We got a couple of questions in the comments. Can you you want to go ahead and read them, Johnny?
It says, has this been tested through a chemist?
Yeah, is there chemical testing that's been done on this?
All right, so I want to be as diplomatic as possible around that question.
No, that's fine.
I have spent many times, many hours around bench chemists, getting my formulation, trying to get them to help me with it. And here's the deal: a bench chemist is not a woodworker. And what has become the standard for me is if I can use it with minimal issues, and if I can sell a product that sits on the shelf that other people use without issues, it's an integrity thing for me, and it's also a pride thing for me. I want to make sure it does what it says. So no, the answer is no. It has never been tested by a chemist.
So I hope you were able to hear that, Ashley. If you heard that whole answer, go ahead and give us a thumbs up in the comments. So the question is, how do we know for sure it's food safe? Just out of curiosity.
That's a great question. Well, here's what I will tell you. Many dogs are not toxic. And I know all the ingredients. I put the ingredients myself. I formulated it, so I guarantee it.
Do you list the ingredients?
I do. They're listed on an SDS sheet, except for the emulsion, which is proprietary.
Okay. So that's fair. So there you go, Ashley. Are there more questions out there, Johnny?
No, I ain't see no more.
Hey, Drake, wood filling product better than epoxy? I would almost venture to say that is a subjective question, right? I think it's going to be like any other wood filler. It's going to depend on what you're doing, right? In some cases, epoxy is going to be better. In some cases, a wood filler is going to be better. And if you're in a situation where you're going to use a wood filler, sounds like we have a product manufacturer here who believes in his product enough to say that his wood filler will be the right wood filler to use. And that's, I'm always willing to take a chance on something new, especially from a small manufacturer. So we'll definitely give it a try.
Do you have?
I feel like I got a little testy there on the question from the chemist, so I want to apologize for that.
No, that's fine. Here's my thought. Here's my thought on that, Barry. You're passionate about your product, and you're passionate about the things you've tried to do for that due diligence, and you've had issues getting chemists who were willing to objectively and properly, as a woodworker, be able to give those answers. Yeah, I don't feel like you were testy about that at all. I think you were honest, and that's great.
Thank you, Gil. Yeah, I spent, one of my initial goals was to have somebody else make the product for me. So I went to companies that specialize in making wood fillers, and so I spent 5 years working with them, trying to get and a lot of money, trying to get them to make a formulation that I had believed in. And it didn't work. They couldn't do it. And I spent the time, and I actually went into the kitchen with a KitchenAid, and I started formulating it myself to get it right. So I am intimately familiar with this product on many levels.
That's awesome. So Cuisinart production, I get it.
Exactly.
You see, sometimes you just have to do it the way you want to do it. And I have found that. I know, so I run a very small shop now, but at one point in time, I had a pretty large shop. I was turning out a fair amount of custom furniture. And one of the things that I have just never mastered is clear coat with a spray gun. So for a while there, I was farming out my clear coating to another guy I knew who happened to be an auto body painter, and he was phenomenal with a gun. but he didn't quite get the nuanced difference between clear coating a car and clear coating a piece of furniture. And it was really frustrating to the point where I finally bought a good HVLP, high volume, low pressure spray, and just went to town with it and sprayed piece after piece after piece until I got it down myself and could do it the way I wanted it done for my customers myself. So I totally get that. It's nice when you can find a manufacturer that can do something for you like that, because they'll be able to do it on a larger scale, but that doesn't mean it's going to be done the way you want it done. So I got a lot of respect for that.
Drake would like to know, is there a product that is clear?
Yes.
There you go, Drake. Yes, they have a product that's clear.
Tell us a little about the clear product.
All right. So our gel clear product is unlike anything else. It's a patented gel with a like a wax copolymer in it. It's a high molecular weight copolymer, because what that means is that it's very tough for the size of the molecule in it. And it's a very fine filler. So it's used by guitar makers, luthiers, and as part of the French polishing process, and using exotic veneers and many applications. So the way it works is you apply the gel with this wax polymer in it. It tacks the polymer. The gel evaporates in 15 minutes. Tacks the polymer to the surface of the wood. Then you lightly remove any bumps. Don't sand it. You don't over sand it. You take a Scotch-Brite pad or a dry paper towel or burlap sack. Just remove any ridges that you have and spray it with any finish. And what will happen is it'll turn clear because the wax cross-links with the finish. And then if you find that you did not, if you have pinholes, etc., and you did not fully fill your piece, then you put it on again between the coats of finish. And then you apply it and finish, apply and finish until you get the finish you want, and it's sealed. And the holes are filled.
Yeah, that does sound like a pretty typical guitar finish. I've got a friend who's a luthier who does a lot of finish on guitars, and it is a building process. It's layer after layer after layer. So
I have a question, and you may be able to answer this, you may not. I don't know if you have any NDAs or anything like that, but you spoke about working with Bombardier and one of the guitar makers. Who else are you currently working with?
All right. We make products for a few reputable. Well, I call them reputable. You may not think they're reputable. So we private label for Sumac, which is the largest guitar parts supplier in the world, and then we also private label for a company called Worth, Worth Wood Group or Worth Bear Supply, and then we also private label for a company in Canada, and they sell our product for Rift Valley Tools. So we have some.
Awesome. Good. We gave you an opportunity to do some name dropping, Barry. I'm always good with that.
We have some.
Awesome. Good. We gave you an opportunity to do some name dropping, Barry. I'm always good with that.
Yeah.
This you in the United States, so USA made?
Yeah, we're in Chicago.
You're in Chicago. Okay. The Windy City.
That's a big deal for me that my product is made here. The country's been very good to me. I was born in South Africa, and I moved to Canada, and then I met my wife, and I moved to Chicago. I've been here for 25 years.
Oh.
So,
Very good.
Right up the road from me then, about 8 hours.
made and sold in the United States.
That's great. What was that, Johnny?
He's only right up the road, only 8 hours away from me.
Only 8 hours away. Yeah, about 6 for me. So I'm based in Ohio, Barry.
Yeah.
So we're all neighbors. I kind of think as long as you're between the Pacific and the Atlantic, we're all neighbors.
Yeah.
Right.
So I spent about almost 10 years living out in Southern California and moved back to Ohio about 2 years ago. My wife and I had a family member who was very sick, and my wife just wanted to be back closer to family. So we're back here in the eastern United States. But the WoodTok community covers the world. I know I have a couple of Turners that I talk to all the time. Steve T, who's in Ireland. He's a British gentleman who happens to live in Ireland now. I see people in the WoodTok community from all over the world. So are you doing international sales too? Will you do international shipping and things like that?
We are. So we just, I have some company, I have a company in Portugal online, and we're working with some other Europeans, but we'll ship anywhere.
Okay, great. That's good to know.
And we just actually launched on Amazon Canada too, which is it's all Amazon Canada. So.
Okay, great. Great. Congratulations on that. That's a good launch.
Yeah.
No problem. Anything else? Anybody? More questions?
Racking my brain here.
Yeah, I can't think of anything right now.
And
So
we got somebody who just joined in.
Ashley that asked the question earlier about the chemistry just added a comment here. She said she works with a company. She works for a company with a new product, and she knows all that it entails and all the pushback she's had. So that's where some of that question's coming from. Just some things for you to be prepared for, because I'm sure you'll hear other questions similar to that, Barry. And I'm sure
Ashley,
you probably already have.
Ashley, I have the scars to prove it. You're welcome to call me and talk. I can share anything with you.
I'm kind of scrolling here looking to see if we have any more questions in the comments section here. We've had a few more people join. So just real quick, for anybody who's joined in the last few minutes, we are talking with Barry from Goodfilla. He has a new wood filler product, actually several new wood filler products, both a gel-based product and a powder-based product on the market for wood filling, for grain filling, for edge filling, for inlays, and all the various different things that we use wood filler for in our wood shops. So we got an opportunity to bring Barry on live, and unfortunately Barry's fairly new here with us to TikTok, so he doesn't have the following he needs to be able to go live. So rather than bring him on live, we did a phone call, which is why you're hearing this all as voice. We will do a repost of this. Please, anybody who happens to see this, share. I'll do the repost later on tonight. Go ahead and share it out to your friends, your family, anybody who's into woodworking, and let's get Barry enough followers so we can bring him on live to do some demo work with us in the future. So, well, Barry, unless you've got anything else you'd like to add, this is probably a good time to wrap this up. We'll let you get back to the Cuisinart so you can keep making. And
yeah, the Cuisinart has gotten bigger.
I'll bet.
tell you that.
I'll bet it has. It's cement mixer size now, right?
Right. We mix 1,000 pounds at a time. So
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, I think they have some videos on YouTube, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, awesome.
Right?
Yeah,
Right, Guilty? They have videos on YouTube.
they do. Barry, can you tell us what your YouTube name is?
is it under Goodfilla? It's under Goodfilla.
Okay, so GOODFILLA. So if you do a
Oh, my wife.
Hi, Denise.
Social media directors on go to our website, goodfilla.com, and you can find our story, all of our products, our information, videos, it links to YouTube, all of our social media. And yeah, I just really want to say the WoodTok community has been amazing. In the 24 hours that we've met, Gil, you're my new favorite person.
Wait, that's not me.
Well, just for the last 24 hours. But no, I can tell that this community is so supportive. From an offer to give someone, Chicano Custom Woodwork Live to offer his account up to us was just such a kind, generous offer. And Gil, you've been nothing but kind and generous. So I look forward to learning from you. Ashley, thank you. I was going on a Scork report, which is Barry's TikTok, so it might have been a little confusing there, but I was answering well. he was talking. So.
I did see some answers come up. I assumed that was just you with a private account rather than a business account. Yeah.
Small business learning curve, and I need to talk to my teenagers to get a education on TikTok.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. If there's anybody who can tell us how to TikTok, it's our teens.
Is that the truth?
Thank you.
Will we see more videos on TikTok from y'all? That would kind of help y'all.
Hey, Barry, Johnny's got something to bring up. Go ahead, Johnny.
I think if y'all post a little bit more on TikTok, it would also about your product. It would kind of help out to get you to 1,000.
Yeah, bring out any videos you have on YouTube. If they're too long, I think TikTok lets you do up to a 10-minute video now, right?
I think you have to have a 1,000 before you can do 10 minutes.
How about 3 minutes? So it's 1 minute and 3 minute until you hit 1,000.
Up there now. We have the inlay video, and then I can add some other ones. That's a great idea.
Yeah,
so
certainly build up your content that you have out on TikTok. It'll help build up your following, and
yeah, I got to get Barry doing more in the shop.
Yeah, and definitely when you're posting, make sure you add the hashtag WoodTok.
Yeah, from now on I will.
Awesome. Well, we're looking forward to seeing and hearing more from you, and I'm looking forward to the samples you're sending me. I'll definitely do a video with that, and I know you told me you're going to send me a T-shirt too, so I'll wear your T-shirt while I do the video.
All right. Anyone else?
Yeah, I'll stay out here 4 o'clock in the morning, first thing.
Thank you very much. I'm very grateful for the opportunity.
Oh,
so thank you.
Glad to have you. We're looking forward. We'll get your following built up, and the next time we do this, we'll do this live and have you do some demo for us, Barry. Barry, Denise, thank you very much for today. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye. Have a great day.
Have a great day.
Yeah, have a great day.